In the realm of transactions, particularly significant ones like real estate or large scale purchases, the scenario where a buyer backs out of a deal can have far reaching implications. This concept, often referred to as buyer withdrawal, involves a situation where a prospective buyer decides not to proceed with a transaction after initially showing commitment, typically by signing a contract or agreement. The importance of understanding buyer withdrawal is pivotal, as it not only affects the parties directly involved but also impacts the broader market dynamics and legal frameworks. Consider the case of real estate. A buyer backing out after both parties have reached an agreement can disrupt financial plans and timelines, potentially leading to lost opportunities or financial penalties for the seller. Another example can be seen in corporate acquisitions, where a buyer's withdrawal might cause significant stock market fluctuations, leading to uncertainty among investors and potentially affecting the company's valuation. These examples highlight the critical nature of managing and understanding buyer withdrawal, both at an individual and institutional level. Opinions on the matter often emphasize the need for stringent consequences to deter casual withdrawals, suggesting that this protects sellers and ensures market stability. Some legal systems have already implemented measures like forfeiture of earnest money deposits if a buyer backs out without a valid reason, offering a layer of protection for sellers. However, there is a counterargument that such penalties could unfairly penalize buyers in cases where withdrawal is due to unforeseen circumstances, such as financing issues or personal emergencies. Challenges associated with buyer withdrawal can include legal disputes and damage to reputations. Controversies often arise around the fairness of penalties and the subjective validation of reasons for withdrawal. Some argue that current systems may favor sellers and that there should be more flexibility for buyers facing genuine dilemmas. This topic of buyer withdrawal is intrinsically linked to other facets of the deal process, including contract negotiations and the legal enforceability of agreements. The introduction of buyer withdrawal dynamics influences how contracts are structured, the inclusion of contingencies, and the allocation of risk between parties. Understanding this concept allows stakeholders to craft more resilient agreements, anticipate potential disruptions, and strategize effectively to minimize the impact of such withdrawals. In essence, the handling of buyer withdrawal is a reflection of the balance between enforcing commitments and accommodating genuine circumstances, further shaping the landscape of deal-making. When a buyer backs out of a deal, the legal implications are pivotal and often intricate. This concept refers to the legal consequences and obligations that arise when a buyer decides not to follow through with a purchase agreement. It's crucial in real estate and contractual business dealings because these transactions typically involve legally binding agreements which, if breached, can lead to significant financial and legal repercussions. The importance of understanding the legal implications lies in the protection it offers to both parties involved. For sellers, it ensures that their interests are safeguarded against capricious decisions by buyers, while for buyers, it underscores the seriousness of a commitment once the contract is signed. For instance, one common implication is the forfeiture of an earnest money deposit. If a buyer reneges on a contract without a valid legal reason, the seller is often entitled to keep the deposit as compensation for the time and effort lost. Another example is potential litigation. Sellers may choose to sue for specific performance, compelling the buyer to fulfill their contractual obligations, particularly in cases where financial compensation doesn't suffice. Opinions on the importance of enforcement vary. Many legal experts advocate for strict enforcement of contracts to ensure market stability and fairness, deterring frivolous withdrawals. However, some argue that flexibility should be allowed, especially in unforeseen circumstances where proceeding with the deal could cause undue hardship or prove impossible. Challenges often arise in interpreting contract clauses, especially contingent clauses like financing or inspection conditions, which can serve as legitimate grounds for withdrawal if unmet. Furthermore, alternative viewpoints stress the role of ethical practices and negotiation in resolving disputes amicably, avoiding the complications of legal action. The legal ramifications of backing out also influence other aspects like market dynamics and contractual negotiations. Buyers and sellers become more meticulous in drafting agreements, with a heightened focus on clarity and contingencies. This, in turn, informs the strategies employed during negotiations. often with increased reliance on legal counsel to navigate potential pitfalls. In summary, the legal implications of a buyer backing out are a linchpin in understanding broader contractual relationships, emphasizing the necessity of diligent preparation, transparent communication, and a solid grasp of one's legal standings. This understanding not only helps mitigate risks, but also fosters a more stable and trustworthy market environment. When a buyer backs out of a deal, they often face financial consequences, a crucial aspect of the transaction process that underscores the importance of commitment and contractual agreements. Financial consequences for the buyer typically arise from breach of contract, as they have agreed to purchase an asset under specific terms. This may involve forfeiting a deposit, paying liquidated damages, or compensating the seller for any losses incurred due to the deal's termination. The significance of understanding these financial repercussions is paramount, as they serve not only as a deterrent against casual deal withdrawal, but also protect the seller's interests, ensuring stability and predictability in the marketplace. By holding buyers accountable, these financial consequences promote integrity within transactions and ensure that only serious parties engage in such deals. A real-world example of this can be seen in the housing market. When a buyer retracts their offer after entering into a purchase agreement, they may lose their earnest money deposit, which can be a substantial sum given to demonstrate their genuine intention. Additionally, if the property market declines or the seller's costs rise due to the breakdown, the buyer might be required to compensate for these financial damages. Another example is in the automotive industry, where backing out of a car purchase after signing a contract may result in the buyer being responsible for a restocking fee or the dealership losing potential sales. These consequences emphasize the financial and ethical responsibilities buyers hold. Support for enforcing financial consequences is grounded in the belief that they uphold fairness and equilibrium in commercial activities, protecting sellers from financial harm and encouraging responsible consumer behavior. However, challenges arise when dealing with unforeseen personal circumstances leading to withdrawal, such as job loss or medical emergencies, which may evoke sympathy and arguments for leniency. Controversies often surround these financial penalties, with some viewing them as overly punitive. Consumer advocates might argue for more flexibility and understanding in extenuating situations, while others stress the necessity of these consequences to prevent frivolous commitments. Overall, the financial consequences for a backing out buyer interconnect with broader contractual obligations and ethical norms in business dealings. They emphasize the intricate balancing act within commercial transactions that protects parties' interests while fostering fair and honest marketplaces. Understanding these implications not only aids in comprehending the risks and duties involved in deals, but also reinforces the broader tenets of trust and reliability in commercial relationships. When a buyer backs out of a deal, the impact on the seller and the overall market can be substantial. This concept revolves around the disruption and financial implications that occur when a real estate transaction fails due to a buyer's withdrawal. The importance of this point lies in highlighting not only the immediate challenges faced by the seller, but also the wider ripple effects on the housing market and economic stability. For sellers, a buyer backing out can be a significant setback. Not only do they face the emotional toll and logistical hassle of restarting the selling process, but there are also financial consequences. For example, if the buyer retracts after contingencies are satisfied, the seller may retain the earnest money deposit as compensation. However, that's often insufficient to cover lost time and potential market value fluctuations. In a cooling market, the seller might have to relist the property at a lower price. Another real-world example is the cost of maintaining the home longer than anticipated, which can include mortgage payments, property taxes, and utilities. From a market perspective, a deal falling through can signal volatility or lack of buyer confidence, impacting market sentiment. When high-profile or numerous deals collapse, it can create uncertainty, potentially leading to tighter lending criteria and more cautious buyer behavior. This, in turn, can slow down market activity and impact housing prices. Opinions on this topic vary. Some experts argue that buyers should have more flexible exit options due to the unpredictable nature of life events and economic conditions. Conversely, there's a viewpoint advocating for stricter penalties to deter frivolous withdrawals and protect sellers' interests. Challenges associated with a buyer backing out include contractual disputes and potential legal actions to enforce the sale or recover losses. Additionally, there are differing perspectives on who should bear more responsibility: the buyer for withdrawing or the seller for expecting too much commitment too early in the process. This issue interconnects deeply with contract law, buyer and seller rights, and real estate market dynamics. Understanding these aspects helps stakeholders navigate the complexities of real estate transactions more effectively. Moreover, it emphasizes the need for well structured contracts and realistic expectations from both parties to mitigate the impacts of canceled deals. Overall, awareness of these impacts encourages more informed decision making and fortifies the integrity of the real estate market.